Enter that's not actually part of it. Anyway, in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the acclaimed podcast, The Deep Dive, featuring your esteemed hosts, Andy Molitor and Drew Dinzik, powered by BetSperts.
Welcome to The Deep Dive. Happy Football Sunday, Andy. We got 2 weeks left. The Jets are off the schneid.
The Jets.
Amazing
JT,
Sunday football.
It's wild, some wild games, some fun games. And it's funny how we are, because we had over 47.5 in the Arizona game, obviously 46 points in the first half. And it takes, what does it take? Like 10 minutes of not scoring in the second half. We're like, oh my God, this is in danger. Like, like you become unreasonably worried about a bad beat with so much time left after Arizona punted a couple. Like, obviously it would have been, and honestly, it was a no-lose situation. We either hit our over or we have a story you can tell for the rest of your life. 46 in the first half, none in the second.
You know what it was? You know what was very close to home on that whole game? Was hitting the under in the Colts Texans game where there were 44 first half points and 2 second half points. It was like,
yeah, and then that's
God, I'm going to be on the other side of this. This is horrible.
Here's a good point. This guy brings up a really good point. Yeah, getting a -4 was massive if you bet that game.
Massive. Yeah. Our friend Tim, who's a Jets fan, imagine, talk about a bad beat. You were this close to changing your franchise forever with Trevor Lawrence, and now he's likely a Jaguar. This is tough if you're a Jets fan and you've suffered through the lows of this season. I mean, I don't really have words for what it must be like, because clearly the Jets now, they're going to get a quarterback and he's probably going to suck. He may not even be better than Darnold, right? I mean, honestly, like, what do you do with Darnold? They screwed up not firing Gase because they didn't figure out if Gase was the problem or Darnold was the problem. And so now they're in total limbo. They've lost out on the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes. It looks like Justin Fields isn't as good as we expected he was going to be in terms of progressing as a quarterback. It looks like, that you still have huge questions around all of the other potential, future pros from the quarterback standpoint. So the 2 pick is like the worst pick in the draft, and the Jets are going to get that pick. And it's amazing to see. I have so many thoughts about today's action. It's been crazy. How the hell did the Saints get the ball back on the 20? What happened there?
Something happened.
Fumbled.
Fumble-aya.
Mahomes sacked, fumbled.
Big sack.
Don't love that.
You know what is not of any consequence, but has been rattling through my head, and it feels like such a waste of my time when I could be working on other projects or getting some basketball plays ready for tomorrow. I feel like there's been way more safeties this year, right?
There have been, yeah.
Like, for sure there's been more safeties. That's not just anecdotal by me.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you.
I don't think there's any signal or anything to be garnered from that. It's just random variance around the goal line, and every week it feels like there's safety.
No disagreement. It's been a weird week. It's been a weird year. I don't think anyone who's who's paying attention, who's living under a rock, hasn't recognized that 2020 has been a weird year.
It really has.
But in the words of our friend Sports Dogma, I digress. Let's start on Saturday. A couple thoughts on Saturday's games. You want to talk about Bills Broncos first, and the just what a spectacular performance that was from the Bills. The Bills needed to get that win to clinch the AFC East, and they were freaking awesome. They got to over by themselves, right?
Yeah, and those feel so good when we get into oftentimes we'll talk about halftime plays before the first half's even over, just in the DMs, and we'll say, if this and this happens, I'd be leaning this way, or where are you leaning? And yeah, it did feel like right away it was just when we agree on a play immediately, and we both were never in doubt. Like, this is a side. We're just going to pour more on the Bills. Like, those seem to go really well. Like, we should actually bet more on those. And that felt so good because we were just, hey, they are absolutely going to crush. They're the better team. Obviously, getting a defensive score was cherry on top to start that. But yeah, I think it was 14-0 before we even got out of our little overtime. So that was nice. Buffalo looked good. And again, it's one of those things where, yeah, Denver has played well at points in this year, but the injuries have been so much, and it was a really rough spot for them. They actually lost another defensive back during the game, in addition to everybody they had missing. So they were in a pretty tight spot to begin with, and such is life. The other game, I don't know how much you can take away from that. Josh Allen played well.
I didn't see any of it.
He should have. Yeah, I mean, he should have played well against what that defense threw out against him. And then the other Saturday game was, I didn't watch a lot of that one. And this was the best. Calhoun talked me into Green Bay first half. I took Green Bay minus 5.5. Just a little bit. We got both sides, though. You got your back door. I got my Green Bay. It felt good. And the chat gave us Tanyan. And then I saw Tim was on it, and Noops was on it, and somebody else sent something. They were on it. So I'm like, well, I got to bet Tanyan.
We didn't do a halftime scope, but we laid out the case exactly for why you would want to take Carolina second half. So hopefully everyone got a little piece of that. On the podcast last week, that was exactly the angle. The Packers, I guess I have a couple thoughts on this. Again, I didn't watch a ton of that game. Teddy managed to pull off the cover, had the ball at the end with 50 seconds left to try to drive and get a tying score. Wasn't going to happen. Thankfully, it didn't turn into a pick six or a swumble scooperoo or whatever. There wasn't a safety that blew that. If that had been the same kind of ending as we saw in what was the Monday nighter that flipped the Browns?
The Baltimore.
There'd been a safety.
Yeah, we had second half over.
So couple thoughts on Green Bay. Their defense still can't stop the end of game garbage time points from the opposing team. And that offensive line gave up 5 sacks to a Panthers pass rush that's not all that impressive. Did somebody on the offensive line get hurt, or was this just a bad day for them, or did the Panthers see something schematically that they put on film that other teams are going to be able to emulate to get pressure on Rodgers? Because obviously, if you get pressure on Rodgers, you can hold him to 24 points, even if you have a dog shit defense like the Panthers.
Yeah, not a dog shit defense, but that's kind of what Tampa's path to victory was that day, was getting a bunch of pressure on him. They were down 10-0 and then just ramrodded him. So getting pressure on him helps. I don't know what else you can do because, Devontae Adams is uncoverable at points and the other receivers are doing well. They have 2 serviceable tight ends. I said nice things about Tanyan because he cashed that for me, but it's not like he's a top tight end. He's good. They have a couple of those, and they have a couple of receivers who aren't bad, but you think you should be able to do something when it's just hey, let's just shut down Devonta and see what we can do here. And just second half Packers strike again. I guess the memory of the Colts games are far enough in the past where they don't matter anymore.
We will get to the Eagles Cardinals in a little bit. I see the chat is buzzing about this, but clearly it is not time. It is not time to bet against Jalen Hurts. Apparently. He has some life that Carson Wentz clearly did not have. That game was a rocking chair over, which was so fun. So fun when you have those. Not as rocking chair over as the Bills game. Just a stupid sweat in that third quarter to get those last 2 points that were needed to get that one over.
I know. I was worried about
the refs. The refs called back so many touchdowns.
Oh, I know. The Bills.
The natural progression is that the Bills somehow miss a field goal and this game ends. Here. Like that was, that it felt like that was
the Bills scored like 13 touchdowns.
I know.
I've never seen so many touchdowns get called, and it's not like they're all bad penalties. A lot of them were just that was a penalty, but it was wild how many times got called back, and how many other calls were just trying to impede the progress. But on to today's stuff because we are getting
15 seconds left. Do you think just a little live wager? I'm going to give Jalen Hurts I'm going to give him plus. I'm going to give him plus 300 that he scores a touchdown here with.
Don't you just kick
15
the field
seconds
goal
left.
here, get inside the number? Matt Rule style. All right, let's get on to Sunday's game. Otherwise, we're not going to run it. We're going to run out of time again on getting through the numbers for tomorrow or next week.
Let's talk about Houston Indy.
We have full slates. We are full out of buys anymore. So Houston Indy. That was a game I didn't watch.
These lines are tight. 7-point spread, lands on 7. There were people out there, I'm sure, who bet
6.5,
plus
7.5,
plus 6.5 and minus, plus 7.5 and minus 6.5. I'm sure somebody hit the middle on that. Don't you think?
Yeah, I would think so. That's it was one of those games where I was afraid to bet this because I said it was tight. Indy's clearly the better team, but Houston has the better quarterback. Wouldn't have surprised me if we ended up with a game going into overtime. But Indy gets it done, which is big since Tennessee got things done. So,
yeah, Indianapolis went through that little 3-game stretch that was going to be challenging against Houston, Raiders, Houston, all three frisky offenses, and then got 3 wins. That's how you know you have a well-coached team. Really.
I was in.
Really,
remember him yelling too, and that was pretty funny. Yeah. So Houston just doesn't have enough pieces. And I mean, if you watch the Arizona game, really, really, really poor reflection on Bill O'Brien to trade him away.
My God,
what a talent. So Indy heading to the playoffs, Houston heading the other way.
Yes.
Speaking of Tennessee laid the offense on them.
You know what? Actually, I got one quick comment on Houston before we move on. Deshaun Watson kind of looked like his old self. Like he had a decent amount of success in the passing game. He's getting a little bit of comfort with Kiki Kute. Brandon Cooks back obviously mattered with the wide receivers. I think last 2 weeks of the season, Houston is still they're going to be a frisky dog, and they're going to be they're an over darling probably too now that they're out of division. Although I guess week 17 for sure is going to be in division. Who's it going to be against? Tennessee, probably. Yeah, Tennessee. That's going to be an over. That's going to be a smash that over button. Over. Because guess what? You go right into Detroit, Tennessee, and holy crap, Detroit was awful today. Awful. And yet they got 25 points and at times looked like they were going to cover. Tennessee's defense is so bad.
Stafford is a gamer. He looked really good at times for a guy that had multiple injuries, a messed up ligament in his hand, and busted up ribs or whatever it was. So kudos to Stafford. Yeah, just not enough when your defense is going to play that poorly against a really good running back, a few really good receivers, Tannehill maneuvering around. I didn't watch a ton of this game, but I've seen it lighting up on the Red Zone channel quite a bit.
Yeah.
And Tennessee, if they can get the Vaccaro injury, Adoree just getting back into game shape here. If you can straighten out some of that secondary issues, if the offense is humming along, this is a team that again can be dangerous in the playoffs. It'll be a fun.
You know who they're playing next week, right?
They're just a fun team to play. Green Bay. That totals 57.
Oh, is it already up? Is it up already?
It's 57. Yes. I know. I saw that. I just had to laugh. I'm like, that's about right.
Well, shit.
I know. I thought 54 and a half, 55. I might think about it, but that's up there. So
you're not going to be able to, if Green Bay, just a really quick mini cap, you're not going to be able to get pressure on Aaron Rodgers if you're Tennessee because you can't get pressure on anyone, which means the Green Bay is going to get theirs. Green Bay can't stop the run, which means Derrick Henry probably goes for 200. Sunday Night Football. That one, you know,
if there's field goals or not.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to play that one pre-flop, but we'll cross our fingers that it somehow starts slow and we can all pile in clown car style on the over in the second half.
If it gets below 50 at any point.
Yeah, that's the right angle. That's the right
angle. Atlanta, Tampa. Atlanta got out to a hot start and they just, they falconed it, which is fine. If you had Atlanta, that was probably a good look. They covered. That got a little squirrely at the end with if they'd have stopped him on fourth down, I wonder if they'd have kicked that field goal and ruined the cover for some people that had 6.5, 6. But Atlanta does cover. Tampa Bay gets it done to stay competitive, especially with New Orleans likely losing here and a couple other teams, and the Rams losing. Things are getting squirrely in the NFC playoffs. I haven't even looked at that yet. I mean,
Let's hold off until we get to the Rams game to talk about the Rams and where they sit now. But before we go there, did it look for a little while that
it just looked like a slow start?
That maybe Atlanta was going to get a little revenge on Tom Brady? But
they needed to do a little more on offense in the second half.
They have an insurmountable lead and cough it up to Brady once again. The funniest part of that game, honestly, was that the cover for Atlanta was preserved thanks to allowing Fournette that conversion at the end that it didn't look like he got there, but they reviewed it and said he did, which was kind of like, okay, fine, the game's over. Like the refs are just calling it. This is the game over. Oh, yikes, CEH out. Ooh, that's not good.
Yeah, he screwed me up pretty bad, I guess.
Oh, shit. So it's Le'Veon Bell time. It's Bell time, baby. He's looked a little frisky, at least in this game. CEH has been pretty solid as well. Don't love that, though. I guess I do want the AFC to be a little more competitive. I want the Baltimore Ravens to have a chance, and we'll get to them in a second. What a day by the Baltimore Ravens. Your commentary on Detroit, Tennessee was strong. Tampa Bay, Atlanta was strong.
New England, Miami
was the only loser on the card for you today. The Patriots teaser leg.
No, I had the Niners, dude.
Oh, that's right.
The Niners started 14. Yeah, I know. I'm tempted to actually play Cleveland now for just something like play Cleveland team total or Denzel Ward is in, so that helps. But yeah, New England, Miami, just when and really the teaser leg could have got there if they would have kicked the field goal at the end. It is what it is. That's a tough beat, especially with the movement, getting ahead of the news with all the stuff. You know, the Gesicki and the Parker and all the news is as there was some gamemanship by Flores. He kind of said, "Hey, all these guys are playing, we're fine," and it turned out, oh, you just Belichick.
Oh, actually, no, because they're all really fucking hurt. Which we knew last weekend. But
yeah, we called them. We're gonna call them questionable.
Yeah. That was, I guess, if you had New England in a teaser past 7, you have every right to question what in the ever-loving fuck Bill Belichick was doing at the end of that game, going for it on 4th down when they weren't able to convert anything in short yardage all game. 4 field goals, all of them were less than 5 yards to go. Goal, 4th and 2, 4th and 2, 4th and 3. They could not convert short yardage whatsoever in that game. And you go for it on 4th down when you are down 10, kick the field goal. What are you doing? This is not rocket science at all. I was shocked that Belichick made that gaffe. It was almost like, does he really care what is going on? And it cost anyone who teased. What did you make of that? And by God, if the Saints game lands on 3, which it looks like it's going to now, I'm gonna laugh.
I all week I'm like, it's a good number. It's been a weird game, and truthfully,
I saw 2.5 for a hot minute. I missed it. I was really angry.
Truthfully, the Saints should have 5 more points. I mean, I have no. We'll get to that game.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
I don't know how did they
never should have ever in a million years been fielding that punt to return it. What was he fucking thinking?
I had this same price.
Are we there? Are we there yet? Oh no. We have another head scratcher of a finish. The Seattle Seahawks by 5 over the Washington.
It's fine going into garbage time when you're up 3 scores. You can't stay there when you're down, when you're only up 5. Like they stayed in garbage time mode. It's like, hey, we can't do this forever. You have to get back to, it's Dwayne Haskins. Let's chill out. So, oh man, yeah, that was ugly. It is a good point that every once in a while, we got a huge early number on the Arizona over. 47.5, closed over 50 at some places, 50.5. Didn't matter. Everybody won. If you had the over, it didn't matter. You could have bet it 5 minutes before game time, got the worst number, didn't matter. That happens all the time, but a few times a year, and I'm only making like 100 bets a year in NFL. Getting on the best side of the number 2 or 3 times and having it matter makes a difference. It can be a difference between winning and losing for the season. So felt great to have the opener there. We've talked about this. We're at the end of the season. The what do you want to say? The price discovery is figured out. Like, it's very hard to bet at this point in the year. I'm probably not going to be adding a lot of stuff during the week. It's just a few openers and taking it easy and, looking for some injury news and playing some stuff on that. But, man, and that, truthfully, like the fact that we're sitting here bantering right now, we're missing the best of the number, because there were people that had Seattle -3. That was there for it was there for a minute, but getting the four did matter. So,
I perused the openers.
It was
a little,
sweaty.
and there's nothing that I think we absolutely have to scramble to get today. So I think we can.
I punched in the look aheads and compared it to my numbers right now.
I think we can convince a little.
Jumping at anything. I do want to bring up a quick point going back to the Tennessee Titans. So they have not. I'm just going through their schedule right now, and they've gone 3 full games now without sacking the quarterback. The last time they sacked the quarterback was in November.
Oh, for fuck's sake. 4th and 2 on the 33, and Breeze has 21-yard completion. You got to get the fuck
out. We joke around about this being inept, but that's 3 weeks without getting a sack is kind of hard to do, actually. And they only got one against, I think it was only 1 or 2 against Phillip Rivers 4 weeks ago. So, all right, where are we at? You sweat without me. I'm not involved in that game. We got our secret team total over.
Yeah, Seattle only scoring 20 was insane. They were driving to go back up 3 scores, and Russell Wilson threw an inexcusable pick. There was really no urgency at all by that Seattle team to try to get first downs when it was a 1-score game, which was head scratching. They were like, oh, we'll just run Chris Carson into a line of people and lose 4 yards on first down, whatever. We don't care. That was the coaching continues to be frustrating with Seattle. That should have been a very easy cover. The fact that it was as competitive as that was really tough. Pete Carroll is not my guy.
He's not our guy. And
Washington and Dwayne Haskins threw 55 passes today. And if you had told me Dwayne Haskins is going to throw 55 passes, are you okay betting Seattle? I would have put more on Seattle at whatever the closing number was. Dwayne Haskins is going to throw 50. Okay, great. Yeah. But he obviously found some comfort in the pocket. You know what it was? Having a wristband with the plays on it and actually knowing what the plays were obviously looked like it helped, because he was a much better quarterback. I don't know why they didn't try that earlier in his career. Giving him the right tools to be able to communicate with his players in the huddle is usually an important sign of success for young quarterbacks. So shame on the Washington football team coaching staff last year and this year for taking this long to get any kind of production out of Dwayne Haskins. And he might be fine down the stretch if we are without Alex Smith for an extended period of time. Honestly, if I'm Washington football team's coaching staff reviewing that tape, I'm probably like, okay, that was a good sign. We got to stay with Haskins. Haskins probably gives us a little bit better of a chance these last 2 weeks, because it's now a total toss-up who wins the East again, although the Eagles took a big step back today.
It might be Dallas, man. Dallas is back in it. Everybody's back in it again. All right, Chicago, Minnesota. Not going to spend a lot of time. Another week again where my numbers make Chicago value, but and it sucked too, because it's like Buster Screen is out, and I said Buster Screen sucks. Like, is that even a thing? Does that matter? Minnesota's going to do well on offense, but their defense has been rough. Chicago's been actually moving the ball a little with Montgomery, and Allen Robinson's a stud. I really didn't see 33 points out of Chicago, but yeah, Minnesota losing this game, probably good. Like, you don't want to win this game. You don't want to be the 7th seed, have a bad draft pick, get the shit kicked out of you by like New Orleans or something. So congrats to the Bears, I guess, for continuing to move up and having to pay Trubisky, because you play Jacksonville next week. He's going to look good again. I don't know. Do you have anything on that before we move on to Jacksonville?
No, just that the Chiefs can get all the way.
I know.
I cannot fucking believe this. These assholes. It's going to be a push for me, so I can't really lose my shit too much. The fact that I got the best of the number, I almost got a 2.5. I can't really be that upset, but how the fuck do you let this team back into it with the touchdown on that drive? Unbelievable. The Chiefs might not be very good. This might just be who they are. Like, they only played with urgency. They only played with focus when they were down in this game. They couldn't punch that touchdown in when they were on the on the 5-yard line, like because they acted like they really didn't care one way or the other. If these two teams meet again in the Super Bowl, the Saints are probably the right side.
Especially if we get 3.5 again.
The freaking safety at the end of the half that has made this a 3-point game really just absolutely.
You're right. It should have been a touchdown.
No, they shouldn't have fielded the punt. Why are you?
I know.
What are you doing?
You can't do hypotheticals. You can't do hypotheticals and say like
yes, but you know what? All of this Chiefs bullshit, this whole second half of the season has just been like they could be 15-1. And Andy Reid does not deserve an iota of consideration for Coach of the Year because this is not a well-coached team. These guys are not well-coached. They are just more talented than the other team on almost every single Sunday. So they freaking find a way to win.
Maybe not on special teams.
Doing crazy Pat Mahomes things. The Chiefs' game plan in this game has been dog shit. The Chiefs have not played with focus. They have not played with intensity. And the end of the half, trying to return a punt when you're clearly just going to kneel it out anyway. Like that was so ridiculous. It was utterly ridiculous. The Chiefs defense is so soft, conceding that touchdown.
There was a couple of Germans who tried to talk you out of this game and said, just this is not something you need to get involved in. No, especially
the Saints were not the right side. Suma wins.
No, I know,
because I love Suma.
The Saints might not have been the right side, but like there was no sense taking the 3 on the road here. Like it was a no bet game. I was no bet. Like I didn't see the value.
The Chiefs potentially will not reach their potential this season, and it's going to be because of the attitude of this team that they can just go out and win. Who cares? We can just play our C game and win. We don't give a fuck. Like they legitimately, they're like the anti-Patriots. The Patriots. When the Patriots were this much better than their opponents week in, week out, like they didn't do shit like this. Like they didn't have letdown games like this and let teams back. You know, they're coasting.
You know what, my thoughts on this are the fact that they won the Super Bowl last year, and we've brought this up before.
Their path through the AFC was so much fucking easier last year than it's going to be this year. I got to tell you, man. They are the Chiefs. I'm telling you, the Chiefs are ripe to get upset the way that they're playing right now.
Let me get it there. It's the malaise that you have after you win the Super Bowl and they turn into these games they've had that they kick a bunch of field goals, don't cover, they don't finish drives, they're not looking as sharp. Like Andy might be able to get them back up for the playoffs. But like it just feels like one of these. It feels like a middle of the season.
The malaise, the malaise has crept up to the head of the fish, man. Andy Reid, the malaise has gotten to him. Absolutely. If he's not getting the most out of these guys week in, week out, and they're this close to the end of the season and they're just coasting to wins, they're going to get shocked in the playoffs. I don't think I'm being reactionary here.
You are because it just feels like we're looking at an NBA team like that. They do this where they're coasting.
You have a 7-game series in the NBA. You can afford to have some brain farts early in series and still win because you're the better team. You can in the NFL. We just talked about this. This is a one game sample size in the playoffs.
But we're not in the playoffs. They're in the regular season. You're just getting through the regular season. We're going to get to the playoffs, sharpen up, especially you're the only team that's going to get a bye now because of Pittsburgh. Like Pittsburgh screwing up has not helped this team to sharpen up for any which, like the fact that they're going to probably get the 1 seed that Pittsburgh had a stranglehold on. That's not helping.
Drew Brees was atrocious today. And
in the first half,
he was off. No, he was awful all game. He was atrocious today.
He has 10 fewer yards than
out on the field
than Mahomes
today. A lot of that was yak. He had one big air yard play,
that's not their game all of a sudden.
Proof of concept that he could throw a deep ball. But he was awful.
He can't. It doesn't matter. That's what they've been doing all year. They lead their division. They're a division winning team, and that's how they play. I don't know. Let's work backwards from that one. Rams lost.
They might lose this game. I mean, they're playing with that little intensity right now. I can entirely see them. Now the game. Oh, whoa, we gotta try. Or now we'll play a little bit higher intensity here.
That's what they did in the playoffs all of last year. They were behind by double digits in every playoff game, Drew.
Yeah, that only works for so long, and eventually.
I know that's what I'm saying.
My entire point is it could bite them in the ass. They could cruise. Oh, we're playing Baltimore again in our first playoff game. Cool. We beat the tar out of them in week 3. We're way better than them. What do we need to like focus and really get our intensity up for this game? Like honestly, like that's, if you're a Chiefs fan, you're afraid of meeting Baltimore in round 1 and having a lackadaisical coming off your bye. They're a lot better than this team. Our offensive line is a little banged up. That's fine. Our game plan is going to be, we'll let the pass rush win for the other team, and we'll just let Pat Mahomes, we'll let him, freestyle. I'm sure he'll make some plays. Like that was literally the game plan for the first half for the Chiefs today. What are they doing? What are they doing?
Why did you decide to bet on Team Malaise?
Why did I? We should have just taken their team total over and called it a day, huh?
We did. I know that might be. And the thing is, now that I'm like mentioning it, it does feel different than when they were down by like 10 points in the playoffs last year, because that wasn't the MO during the regular season. It just felt like something. Well, obviously in the Texans game, things just bounced the wrong way with the Titans. Like that was just a really tough team, and they had to adjust. And then the Niners, they played a great game plan for 3 quarters, and you can only keep a defense doing that for 3 quarters, I suppose, against this kind of offense. So I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see this team in the playoffs. You're either there's no gray area with what you're saying. You are either dead right or you're dead wrong. Where if this is where they're going to be this year, they might be out first, like not first round, but second round gone. They won't play in the first round, but second round, or they put up a real stinker in the AFC title game because they're playing this way, or they're the Lakers, or let's say one of these teams that just plays lightly down that stretch because they just got to get in, get the 1 seed, and then start playing. They click, they snap, they turn it over, and all of a sudden it's soul crushing Chiefs again. So be interesting. What else we got?
Rehearsal for the playoffs, man, and they played poorly and win by 3.
They had some beat up offensive linemen. It was struggle. There was a few struggling parts for them.
They gave up an assload of garbage time points to the Bucks. They did it again here against the Saints.
It's not a good defense.
They've done it against bad teams. They've given up.
Le'Veon Bell's hurt now. They
gave up a shitload of garbage time points to the Dolphins last week. No, these Chiefs, there are warning bells, alarm bells going off in my head every which way. I'm glad to have a Chiefs ticket. It's equity in my pocket at this point. You can attack the board in other ways now, but I'm not sold that this team is
so jilted by that last touchdown there.
I'm not sold that this team.
You've turned on the team. I'm not sold on them either. They're not finishing drives like they used to. They just got a first down and
game's over.
You need to. New Orleans is out of time. So
I get a push in a game where the other team's quarterback had 11 broken ribs and couldn't complete his first, 8 passes? I lost count how many of his first X passes were incompletions. This should not have ever been competitive. It shouldn't have been. And yet it's a 3-point fucking game. Unbelievable.
Here's a good way.
No. Wait, think back to the end of the season Patriots, like when they had a dress rehearsal, they got that team fired the fuck up, and they took care of business in impressive ways in big games down the stretch. Those Patriots teams were so much more.
We got to get back to the board. We're pushing. Honestly, we're pushing 5 o'clock here.
Why Belichick was a good motivator and coach is because even with a little bit of title malaise, still got his guys fired up, for the big moments in the end of regular season games when they had the 1 seed locked up. Like he got more out of them than Andy Reid's getting out of them. Like this team goes as Andy Reid goes, and Andy Reid is coaching very lackadaisically this season. He is not getting the most out of these guys, and it's going to cost them at some point. I'm almost ready to be somebody's going to take the Chiefs out in the playoffs after seeing this performance. This was a bellwether. It really was. Let's keep moving down the card. Baltimore Ravens 40-14 win. This is a team This is a team that didn't have a lot to play for in this game. They were double-digit spreads. They're coming off of an enormously emotional win against the Browns on Monday Night Football on a short week. And guess what they fucking did? They showed up and they played their asses off, and they beat the shit out of a bad team. And that is the sign of a team that is sharpening their focus on the eve of the playoffs. And I'm very, very happy to be in the Baltimore Ravens bandwagon now. Fuck the Chiefs. The Ravens are going to beat them at some point in the playoffs. That is all I have to say on this topic.
Yeah, I mean, not only did they look sharp when they needed to, but the Jags gave them gifts after gifts. Like they were given fourth down stops, they were given turnovers, and even with the mistakes Baltimore made, they moved pretty quickly and cracked the shit out of this team. Minshew Mania dead again. The Niners, turning the ball over twice, giving it down 14-0 like that. Tough spot to be, especially it's not the offense you want to back. It's not the offense I want if they're down. Like, this is not some comeback, quick strike offensive juggernaut. This is the team I need playing from a lead. So I felt bad from that one from the get-go. Dallas is in the race. I guess to go to the playoffs, which would be really something. But again, we say this every week. We can't continue to try to figure out the NFC East. Everybody's in it. Everybody's out. If the Giants lose tonight, that'll be really bad because Dallas won, and you had everyone else lose. Yeah, Philly and Washington lost. So they need that win. It's tough. They're 6-point dogs. I don't know. We got a nice number there. It is what it is. You have 4 turnovers. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, and honestly, the fact that they turned the ball over with fumbles twice in the first quarter and spotted the Dallas Cowboys a 14-point lead and then clawed their way back in, I was hopeful that they were going to somehow still get that cover for us, especially considering that we got an incredible number in that closed 4. I mean, we talked about it before the game, like +4. Dallas +4 was just a bad number. Like the number had gotten out of control at that point. I didn't buy back any because I figured, I'll wait and see if San Francisco comes out with their typically good scripted offense early, puts a little pressure on this team. Maybe there'll be a nice, get them get Dallas past the touchdown or something. But lo and behold, you look up and all of a sudden San Francisco is +7.5 live.
Yeah, that felt bad.
Take me through the end of the game roller coaster of San Francisco +7.5 live.
+7.5 live was very live, and then it wasn't. They were down. What was it? They were down 10. It was dead. They kicked the field goal. It's like, all right, yeah, let's take the points, get inside the 7. The onside kick goes the other way, which felt really bad. At that point, it's dead. And then I'm not even watching. I just saw the score and odds thing light up that they scored a touchdown. I said, holy shit, I've just been bailed out. And then I saw the time, that there was no time left on the clock and they would not be kicking an extra point. That didn't matter, which is fine. Them are the rules. That's life. So the San Francisco +7.5 bet that looked pretty good early on was rough. Live betting wasn't great today. I didn't do much with second halves, but my other live bet was Rams team total over 22.5.
I regretted not taking the over in that game.
That didn't get there
because one of the two angles to like San Francisco in that spot were, number one, you got Shanahan coordinating against a bad Dallas defense, and honestly, the fact that they gave the ball up 4 times but still managed to score, we'll take off the last garbage time points. They still managed to score 20x points with 4 offensive turnovers. Effectively, one of them was a punt return. The other 3 were when they had the ball. Yeah, that was a good angle. The San Francisco was going to score points in that game. The angle I didn't catch is I thought we were going to see potentially a bad Dalton because I thought San Francisco might be able to generate a pass rush. They really couldn't. That offensive line for the Cowboys, even in Zach Martin's absence, is kind of figuring things out. I think that's a well-coached unit, the offensive line at least. The defense is not well-coached, but they came up with the key turnovers today, so they get the win, I guess. I don't have a lot of faith that Dallas is going to be able to beat Philly next week, especially if Jalen Hurts playing at the level we saw today.
Yeah, let's skip to that one. Jalen Hurts. There was somebody, I think Pizzola retweeted him. Somebody from the Philly media said, like, win or lose, it's going to be awful hard to go back to Wentz after this game. No shit, buddy.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah,
no shit.
Yeah, Wentz hasn't even gotten a ton of time with the starters yet. Wentz, they can, if you can get some good coaches around him and do something, building an offense around his, how his game works, like we've seen in Baltimore with Lamar, he could be a very good quarterback. And it's wild because this is why we don't try to evaluate college quarterbacks anymore, because it's all a big mess. This guy, and we liked him, but it was mostly at a big number because we thought Wentz was, we bet him rookie of the year at like 100-1 because we said Wentz stinks. He might get a shot, and you never know. And that's a big number for a quarterback that might be starting in a couple weeks. It ended up happening too late for those tickets, but I think Wentz might be on the way out. And again, we weren't sure this kid was going to be any good. He was kind of a rough, as far as throwing the ball, it was a little rough in college at times. He was just a dynamic guy. And I think he's shown it decent at least. So, and obviously his legs are great. He's creating time for him to get the ball out. Didn't get it done today, but that's a tough ask. Really, first, second start here. It's not like it's a tough defense, but the other team put up 33 points. What are you going to do?
Yeah. I mean, the other team had the ball. I mean, honestly, doesn't 33 feel like Arizona underperformed again?
Yeah, they punted on the other side of the 50 like the first 2 times they had the ball in the second half. And then the third time they threw an interception or fumbled it down by the goal line.
Hopkins fumbled it at the 3.
Yes. So, I mean, Arizona should have scored 50.
Arizona left conservatively 20-something points on the board.
Hence the reason we played this total, because all the injuries that occurred to Philly last week. I'm glad I didn't have an Arizona -6. That would have been a cardiac ticket.
Oh, God. Good Lord. Seriously. Arizona.
You want to touch on Kansas City North?
Real quick. Arizona had 423 passing yards against the cornerback deficient Eagles. We identified that last Sunday, the Eagles cluster injury at cornerback, defensive back, safety, etc. That was going to be a problem, and it did manifest, obviously, with 423 passing yards for Kyler Murray. For Arizona is pretty impressive. They had 526 yards of total offense and only 33 points. So, yes, they continue to underperform, but the over got there, no problem. 59 points scored in that game. Good shit.
Rams real quick before we get
Rams.
to this week's lines.
Okay, so does this matter?
Kind of. You should be able to coach your way out of an early gaffe like that to a bad team.
Yes. I'm going to levy some criticism beyond the fact that the Rams. I'll levy some criticism at the Jets. Why the hell are you winning? I know that these guys are playing for their future NFL careers, but that was a very consequential win, which isn't very often. And it's not easy to find those as bad wins, but this was a bad one for the Jets.
People will remember this game if Trevor turns out to be really, really good or something.
Oh, hell yes.
Always remember this game.
Absolutely. I mean, what was that? We were talking to Eric and George on the PFF forecast, and they were like, "Yeah, Adam Gase is working on a banner for his like gross house where I kept Trevor Lawrence out of New York." Like, yeah. It was a bad win.
Fire him after the win.
Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, maybe they should have kept Greg Williams. Greg Williams would have figured out a way to get the Rams in the end zone and not kicking a field goal when it was 23-17. The Rams kicked a field goal to make it 23-20. Sean McVay and his decision-making and his lack of aggressiveness when he has by far and away the better scheme and the better talent on the field against most teams is mind-boggling. It is confusing. It's perplexing. It makes no sense to me. I do not know why he will not learn his lesson about being more aggressive and kicking the whole sequence that led to 4th and 9 decision to kick the field goal was like he was fine if what they ended up with on that drive was a field goal. And I don't get that. I don't get that mindset that McVay has, especially given how little, time was left, and given the fact that your defense had spent so much time on the field and was obviously looking quite tired. Pretty amazing that off of extra rest to prepare for that game, you didn't have a better game plan for the Rams or for the Jets. Kind of distressing, I guess, if you're a Rams
Especially
futures holder.
on defense, like I get whatever.
Yeah,
it's hard. It's hard to run against this team. Sometimes Goff can play poor, given just the situations. But the defense was the disappointing part for me, I think.
And actually, like the fact that there was the defense was disappointing. 100% agree. But the Rams' offensive approach, not just leaning on their short passing game when the Jets are out so many defensive players on the secondary over the course of the season, and the only thing they can really do is stop the run. They wasted a lot of downs. They mailed in that game in a lot of ways, offense inclusive. And I on one hand, yes, this is bad because now you're on the outside of the NFC West looking in. You have 2 very difficult games left on your schedule. You have to play Seattle and you have to play Arizona again, although you do own Arizona's soul for whatever it's worth.
It's
so
almost like I don't know.
Week 17 is an auto W.
I haven't run the math on that yet, but like next week, that's the division, man.
Yeah.
I mean, if they can get it done in Seattle, it's complete absolution for this, I suppose. I think just with the tiebreakers, how it would hash out, maybe they could still screw it up against Arizona. I'll look into that. But yeah, it was a bad loss, obviously. It's a super bad loss, and these things happen. This is why you don't put minus 1,800 favorites into your, like, oh, I'm going to add this to my money line parlay.
Honestly,
didn't help.
If I'm the Rams, I don't mind my path in the playoffs as the wild card.
Yeah.
I don't mind.
We talked about this off air too. All the paths are hard. All the paths are hard.
All the paths are hard, but a path that takes you to Green Bay in round 2, if you're the Rams, I think is your preferential path to get to the NFC title game. Now, what happens at that point? Obviously, if you're the 3rd week in a row on the road, that's tough. But if the Rams, and again, a ton of this depends on what happens with the Bucks, what happens with the 4, 5, 6. But if you end up in the 5, if you're the Rams and you draw the winner of the NFC least, that's not bad. That's not a bad matchup round 1. That's probably your best case scenario. You're better off in the 4-5 playing Washington football team than you are in the 3-6 playing the Tampa Bay Bucks or the Seattle Seahawks. Even
though those are 2 teams that you've already beaten.
Even though those are 2 teams that you've already beaten. There are a lot.
You'll have to beat teams like that eventually.
At home hosting either of those teams, you're going to be at a field goal, maybe.
The whole NFC
on the road.
All those games are outside of the Washington.
You're going to be a
wins.
7-point favorite. You're going to be a 7-point favorite on the road.
No, yeah. Obviously, playing the NFC East, whoever gets that gift is going to be grateful. But it is. I'm just thinking outside of that. All these NFC teams, it's going to be so tight. There's not going to be There's going to be no 8-point favorites once we get the East champion out of there. There's going to be a lot of field goal spreads. It's going to be, you're basically picking who wins the game in a lot of these games. That'll be a ton of fun. The playoffs with the extra team should be a ton of fun here. I guess it depends how Minnesota does, or Chicago, whoever takes the 7th seed, Arizona maybe.
Arizona took a big step forward getting there.
Arizona took a big step. So,
yeah.
a lot of lock signs, a lot of games that are blocked off the board right now. Christmas.
I think we covered everything, right? Did we cover everything?
Yeah. No. I'm talking this upcoming week.
Let's look at
Vikings on Christmas Day. We have a Friday night, 3:30 actually, Friday afternoon, Christmas Day game. Vikings heading to New Orleans. New Orleans coming off a moral victory, getting back into that game. Your dogs, your quarterback had broken ribs. You got some pressure on Mahomes, though. They got 4 sacks, fumbled once. I think that's probably a big part of what's going to happen here with Minnesota's offensive line that can struggle. This number, probably about right. Let me look. I have my power numbers up. I haven't obviously adjusted anything yet, but I make this 6.7. I don't know. Pretty close. And all of mine are going to be pretty goddamn close again. It's that time of year. I'm not interested in this too much. What do you think of this total, though?
Seems a little high.
It does kind of, like Minnesota overs, or it's been a thing, but if they can get a pass rush on Kirk, that's going to be an issue. I'm going to monitor that. I don't love these standalone games. I'll probably get involved in the second half of that one.
Little wrinkle in the schedule. This is our first Friday night football game of the season, right?
Yeah, or for like ever.
Yeah, and this puts the cherry on every night of the week. We'll have had football this season, right? That little wrinkle in the schedule. We've had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and finally now Friday night football.
Yep, and yeah, so all 7 days because of the insistence on getting that Baltimore game in.
It looks like there's been some money coming in on the Vikings. They've been bet down from 8 to +7, +101. I don't know that I agree with that. I think the New Orleans defense matches up really well here against the Vikings offense, and the Vikings having lost that game to Chicago, that was kind of an elimination game. I'm not sure how you get. Yeah, that was a loser goes home game. And they are eliminated now. I don't know why they couldn't have played that way against the Bears the first time they played. But that's another story. I don't know. There's nothing about the Vikings right now is screaming anything close to a good football team, right? Like their power number should probably be -3-ish. I mean, if they closed what, 2.5 or 3 point favorites against the Bears, and the Bears are like a -3. So maybe the Vikings are like a -1, -2.
I have them about -1.
The Saints are like a +5. So I guess a 7.5 makes sense in this game.
Yeah.
I think the 52 is too high. I think that deserves to come down. I think that the Kansas City Chiefs defense, the way they played today, proved something pretty. The New Orleans defense against the Kansas City offense, the way they played today, was pretty impressive. They didn't really lose anyone important. The fact that they can generate a pass rush is a problem for Kirk Cousins. I think under 52 is probably the right look, but I may skip this one. I kind of want to go a little conservative in week 16 here. I don't know.
I kind of want to go conservative until week 1 of next year. Playoffs are tough. These weeks are tough. I'll be looking for
crazy.
injuries.
The playoffs are so bettable.
I know. Yeah, there's just not enough games. Like, yeah, I make like 5 bets in the playoffs, and that's a big percentage of the games. That compared to what we normally do. So, what do we got Saturday? So 3 Saturday games, which is fun in its own right. Tampa is a 7-point favorite on the road in Detroit. The Niners are a 4-point dog to Arizona heading to the desert. And the Raiders are 2-point road or home dog to Miami. And again, it'll be monitor Miami's injury statuses there. Totals are 54 in Tampa, 50 in the Cardinals game, and 46.5 in the Miami Raiders game.
What
if the Dolphins offense is healthy? Like, what are somebody in the chat help me? Are we thinking they're getting some of those guys back? Because that total might be a little low. I'm just gonna bet it anyway.
Wait a second. This is Mariota Tua time. This is the Samoan Super Bowl.
Mariota didn't look awful at times. Yeah, I don't care if it's like Ruggs.
Mariota's playing for a job next year. It is clear. After the way he played in that game,
if he wants to start for the Bears next year, he needs to play.
We know that that's happening, so yeah, I think he does play. I think he plays well. The Raiders.
It should be 49, even with the backup.
It should be. It should be. Man, dude, what the hell? 46 for a Raiders game indoors? What the shit? I'm playing this too.
Yeah, especially some of the things we saw. He's not. I don't want to say he's not Jalen Hurts, because maybe Jalen Hurts isn't even Marcus Mariota, but a mobile quarterback can move against this defense as well. So
yes, I agree. With
another week of
excuse me.
Another week of Miami overs. Yeah, especially any receivers they get back is just.
You played Miami over? No, Miami was dead today. That was easy.
Excuse me.
Vegas, Raiders over. This is, it is Miami, obviously.
Yes.
We need their offense to contribute.
Another Raiders over is what I mean. Yeah, we're up to 47 already. Not a lot of interest in the other Saturday games.
You got 46.5 as well?
46.5. -08.
That's the only thing on Friday and Saturday that really stands out as a bad number to me.
Yeah, I'm looking right here. The Chargers -3 and Broncos. I'm on market with that. The Bears is 7-point favorites on the road to Jacksonville. This feels like the game that if it's truly going to be 2020 and we're going to have hilarious results all the time, it feels like the Bears lose this game and the Jags lose the hold on the number 1 draft pick somehow. The Bears are playing up. Like, the Bears are legitimately not that good. I'm not laying these points. I'm not taking Jacksonville because they could truly be atrocious. I'm just making a joke about how nobody wants to take Trevor Lawrence, apparently.
I'll cop and admit that I wasn't really listening to you because I was trying to figure out why my balance at one of my books is like super high. Something weird got cashed, and I'm not sure what it was. Must have
It
been
might
like
be. They're starting to cash futures. Some books cash futures early. I need Todd Gurley to play pretty poorly the last 2 games. I forgot I had a season rushing total under. He had like 400 yards in the first 4 games or 5 games. So I just kind of wrote that one off. It was under 825. Now he needs like 150 yards in the last 2 games to crush me. So I think we're going to get it. It could be political.
Oh, division bets cashed. That's what it is. That's
for
what it is.
which book?
Bet Online.
Well, let's go Steelers then, because
that was what happened. I wasn't sure what was going on there. I was very
Steelers cash.
That was no. Do they? Did the Steelers cash? What's your balance?
No, because
the Browns don't play tomorrow.
If they win tomorrow, I'll cash a bet then.
Okay.
Anything else? These are tough. Chiefs are 11.5-point favorites over the Falcons at home. Totals 54. Again, what are we doing with Atlanta? I have this at like 9.
I'm not close to 11.5.
Yeah.
What do I do?
Well, you have to bet Atlanta because you went on a 20-minute fucking diatribe ripping on this team. You have to bet Atlanta, and you have to bet it now. Where do you think this number goes, though? Do you think it crosses back?
Probably 10.5. No, probably 10.5.
Well, I don't think we're in a rush.
Any weather potentially in KC next weekend?
I don't know. I don't look at the weather this early.
It does not look like it.
All right. Atlanta plus 11.5. Hold your nose. I make this under 10. I'm getting across at 10 by a couple points here. Gross. Oh, well, I bet it. Doesn't feel good, but my numbers disagree with that one more than any other line this week so far. What else we got?
Yes, same.
Couple more. So the Seahawks are 2.5-point favorites over the Rams. Hopefully the consensus about how those games went keeps that moving. If they gets to 3, probably have to bet the Rams. I'm not touching it now. Cowboys Eagles is a pick. What do you make that one? I'm pretty close there, I guess, too.
You got a real funny thing to note again. So I don't even know if I want to say this out loud. I might just message you on the side.
You need to send me the code. I got locked out of the deep dive account because of my COVID tweet.
I knew everything. What's up with the juice on that bookmaker Chiefs Falcons game? It's like 2-cent juice again.
Oh, they're doing that sometimes.
Randomly, they're just dropping size 2-cent juice. What is going on?
They went through the update and they didn't.
I'm not complaining. I'm just confused.
No, we'll have to watch this at halftime today, because a lot of the halftime lines have been this way. So, what did we bet? We bet the Raiders.
I got 11.5 minus 106, and the Chiefs was plus 104 at the time.
Raiders over. Yeah, I saw that. No, I don't know.
All right, whatever.
All right, here's what we bet so far. Packers Titans. It's down to 56. Green Bay is a 4-point favorite. I make Green Bay
the actual number.
I make Green Bay like 3. So
half is what we got, just for the record. 46.5 on the Raiders, 11.5 on the Falcons. Okay. Rams bounce back against the Seahawks. They're 2.5-point dogs. That's probably a Rams money line play. Wait on that, or are you done with the Rams for a little while?
I'll probably wait. It either gets to 3 and I bet it at 3, or it doesn't and I bet the money line. That's where I would be attacking that one. What else?
The Seahawks defense, man, the way they look today against Dwayne Haskins, I think a lot of what we've seen from them of late of looking better has been opponent driven, because if they gave up what they gave up to Dwayne Haskins, if they let Haskins have that kind of a level of performance, Jared Goff and company are going to be pretty dangerous. Even as bad as they look losing to the Jets today, I think that's probably a Rams money line spot. I
can't really get to the Chargers being pretty much 3.5 here, but my appetite for betting Chargers games is probably gone
Broncos
after last week.
Is done. Yeah,
or Broncos games. So
when you get out of jail free on a dog shit team like that, I think you just walk away from them for the rest of the season.
Slight value on Broncos +3 at a plus number if you get a 3.5, but not a big interest. The only other one up on the board for me, Buffalo Patriots. I got Buffalo as a 6.5-point road favorite to an eliminated New England team.
You skipped like 3. You skipped 2
45.
games.
I don't have everything up. I need to refresh, I guess.
You skipped Eagles Cowboys, where where there's a look I like.
Do tell.
I think this total ought to be 52. Maybe higher, and it's 49.
What's the update? I guess if the Philly defense continues to be as injured, and I guess
Slay may come back, but Maddox and
Maddox is done.
McLeod are done.
Dallas, that's the only thing going for them is, and here's the real rub: is Zeke going to be out again? Because I think that helps the offense. Pollard is dynamic.
I don't know exactly what Zeke's injury is. Do you?
No, I think he's just a pussy. Indoors, indoors in Dallas with Jalen Hurts running around. LVE got hurt today. I'm not sure if that was an ankle thing. Yeah, you talked me into this one. I'm going to bet this just because it's going to tick up.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that. Continue to pound Eagles overs, and yeah, if Hurts is Hurts might be able to move on that defense. This is weird this time of year. You had a bunch of lockdown games. There's so much value that's sucked out of the market just because the numbers are so tight. It's tough.
You also skipped Tennessee Green Bay. I guess, do you make that game Dallas Philly a pick?
It's tough to make the adjustments for the defense. I have Philly favored by like 0.5 point. Like they both played well today. I don't know how I don't know how my adjustments will treat those games. I got to look into box scores, but Dallas probably at home. I don't know. I'm not excited about backing either side there. Just the way those game scripts will go.
What do you think? Okay, so you're looking at Bookmaker currently, right?
Yes.
What would you make Washington football team, Carolina Panthers, Ron Rivera revenge game?
Ooh, that's a good one. I can look quick.
No. What would you make it?
I'm looking at my line. My line makes it Washington -2.
I'm looking at -2.5 for Washington there.
Pretty fair. Carolina, not much to play for. Washington, lots to play for still. Especially based on if the Giants lose tonight. Boy, that division is such a fucking mess. I have to look it up every time and try to figure out where things stand.
What about, I guess, we talked about the totals come down in Tennessee, Green Bay. That's now 56 from down 57. That's fair. I think 55 is the key number you want to watch there. If it dips below 55, then that's an overlook. Otherwise, that's a stay away. And we would just try to shoot for a second half over. Tennessee's a decent dog. +4 is interesting. They're going to be able to score points in this one. That should probably be whoever has the ball last win.
Be 3.
Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to put up some points in some pressure in this game, though, for sure, right?
Not getting any pressure on Rodgers. Like Green Bay team total over just could be like 29.5, but it probably hits.
Okay. What about Bills minus 6.5? Third straight kind of big game, right? Or no, this is the fourth straight game that they're like playing a standalone game. This is just Bills all season long, standalone games, huh? Josh Allen.
I can't get to this number. Like, actually, I have this kind of off. I have this number
in favor of New England.
Yeah, but that's again, I haven't downgraded them at all yet.
Gilmore?
I haven't done anything with the Buffalo number.
Gilmore
and Gilmore was a non-contact injury. That doesn't feel like it's going to be something that. Yeah, I'd love to come back and play for a meaningless game with my messed up knee. So I don't think Gilmore plays. Like, obviously, I'm going to have to give New England a downgrade here. So I'm probably going to be pretty close to market here.
I'm playing 6.5. I'm fine with it. I'm getting minus 101. Again, another 2-cent line. Minus 6.5, minus 101. Unbelievable.
They're just enticing our action. So,
what is this?
I don't know.
They're looking for early opinions, I guess. I'm sure I'm not the only one that has these kind of juice, but it's cool.
No, I have the same numbers. When you're just like the minus 106 plus 104 thing, I had the exact same numbers. So I don't know. All right, let's watch the Giants. God damn it. Let's watch the Giants game.
All right, I'll check it at halftime. Good job.
Yeah, you do need to create a bookmaker account.
We should get paid by bookmaker for sending people their way. We should just put a little referral.
I don't know if they do affiliate.
Oh, well, they do referrals for sure.
Oh,
I signed up. I gave one of my buddies a referral.
Oh yeah, I've gotten that.